Do you guys have 6 o'clock yet, or should we get just a few more minutes?
I believe we were going to have a, trying to look at the roster, okay. Okay, I think we have everybody.
Okay. So then let's call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. And then we'll start with attendance.
Sorry, I'm trying to click all over the place here. Who is the administrator in attendance that I should mark today?
Susie.
All right.
Yes, Ms. Sanchez, please put me down as the administrator. Gladly.
Got it.
Anything for Maria and fam.
Okay, Susie Navarro. Are you present?
I'm present fully.
Thank you. And Rachel Staylor.
Present.
Awesome. Just a minute. Now I gotta get back on my screen here. Okay. Ms. Genevieve Hokinson.
Present.
Mr. Alvin Oseguera.
Present.
Myself is here. Mr. John Kearney.
Present.
Ms. Jennifer Grob.
Present.
Ms. Jennifer Hamilton.
Present.
Mrs. Brett McIntosh.
Present.
And the one and only Delfino Murillo.
I am also here, present.
We are all here and present. Okay, sorry, my daughter has a movie on in the background. I don't know if you can hear it. I'll mute myself now.
Okay, now that our meeting is called to order, do we have any guests?
Marcus Friendly, Assistant Principal.
Judy Jenkins, Discipline Coordinator.
And then Marilyn De La Cruz.
Marilyn. And I thought Dr. Renti was here. Yes.
I am. Do you need, am I on the agenda already or?
Yeah, you'll be presenting. I think you're officially named in a few of the presentations. All right, so has everybody had a chance to look at tonight's agenda? And if so, if we could have a motion to approve it unless there's any amendments we want to make.
I motion to approve. Brett McIntosh.
Marilyn, did you have an amendment?
Yeah, I do have an amendment on the presentation section. We did put a student data that was going to be reviewed, but those highlights are within the academic presentation. So I wanted to make that correction to the agenda.
Okay, so is that 6.1, the data presentation? It's
Yes.
going to get embedded into 6.3, the LCAP one?
No, it would be the, so within the climate surveys, I said there would be a 4 through 6 survey presented,
Okay.
but that will be highlighted in 6.1.
Oh, okay. So, so under 6.2, let's amend where it says research and staff and so let's take off the 4 through 6 student surveys on 6.2 and let's add that as 6.1.
Sorry, it's hard going back and forth on this. Okay, so change this to 6.1.
Yes.
And then I wanted to also add another correction.
Sure.
Towards the last I don't know in what order you would want to add this. Ms. Navarro, maybe you have an idea, but we did want to add just a really quick Title I update as part of an additional presentation. So we also
Okay.
want to add that to the report section.
So does that need its own number, 6.4? Would that be okay?
That would be great.
Okay.
Sorry, I just need to be clear. Should I just copy or cut and copy this into the 6.1 section for the climate survey results?
Just,
Put it with that?
was it just 4 through 6 going to 6.1? That was my understanding.
Yes, so the student survey results, we are going to remove that from 6.2 because
Okay,
the highlights are already embedded within the data presentation.
so I should put it in 6.1.
Yeah, if you wanted to add in
Okay.
6.1, it will include, I guess, student climate results.
Got it. Okay. And then what was the 6.4? Sorry.
6.4 would be just a Title I update.
Or would it be 6.3? I only have a 6.1 and 6.2 now because since that that one got moved to 6.2, so the other one would be 6.2 now officially.
No,
No, I think that's 6.3. I think you're adding 6.3 as a new one.
Because since we're changing the climate, I'm sorry that it's so complicated, but since we're adding climate survey results to 6.1, that means it is no longer 6.2. So the local control and accountability plan becomes 6.2.
well, within the climate surveys, we were still going to present the staff and the parents.
Got it.
results, but the kid, I just wanted to remove the kid results from 6.2.
Thank you. That's what I wasn't clear about. Okay. I will fix that now.
And don't worry, when I make agendas too, the numbering stuff can get very tricky sometimes.
You publicly send out the agenda, don't you?
Yes, that's correct.
So should we do a strike through on the parts that are being removed as opposed to just deleting them?
Dr. Renti, do you have, is that what we're supposed to do? Strike throughs?
My apologies. Can you ask that question again? With regards to the modifications, what were you asking?
Well, since this is already sent out to the public, should it be done with strike throughs as opposed to just deleting?
Yeah, so you don't want to delete, you want to just like maybe add what the changes are. So leave it as is, and then you're going to just indicate, sorry, I was somewhere else. You're just going to indicate, you know, what the changes are that are being suggested. Right, so this keep as is,
I'll
changes,
just go back
and then
to
the
what it was.
minutes will reflect, will reflect the changes. So is this a motion to approve? So where you're motioning, where the motion is, if there's comments and notes, under the comments is where you're going to indicate the changes. So you see where it says comments and notes, go there and then just type away whatever whatever the changes are, whatever the suggested changes are, as if everyone's in agreement.
So I'm going to do the 6.4 under the comments, or
Yeah.
do I add it as 6?
So yeah, so tell me again what Marilyn has suggested. So what are we changing again?
So we're removing from 6.2 the student climate results. since they are already included in 6.1.
Okay,
And
so
then
just-
we're also adding 6.4, which is a Title I update.
got it. So then what you could do, Carla, is where the notes are, you can cursor down and then go to like your bullets or number 1, and then literally just type those changes. So you're not going to put it where the reports are. Go to number 4 where it says review it. Yep, there you go. Go there. And then I would cursor down and add a number or a bullet, and then just literally type the first. Can you get a bullet maybe? Because I think it'll go cursor over instead of the hyphen. Yeah, and then, yeah, one more time, go over again. There you go. All right. So the first thing we're doing is add. Go ahead, Marilyn.
We're going to add a 6.4, which is a Title I update.
Then cursor down. What else?
And under 6.2, we will remove the student climate results.
Since they are where already contained.
They are contained in 6.1.
There you go.
Carla, you're doing awesome. I'm
And if
very impressed.
yeah, and if the board is in agreement with that, then they can move forward with a motion, a vote, and then motion, second vote, and then outcomes.
Okay. So if anybody wants to motion to approve the amended agenda,
I'll motion to approve.
thank you, Genevieve. And if I can get a second,
Jennifer Grobe, I'll second.
thank you. All right, now we go to the vote. Ms. Navarro,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. Taylor,
Aye.
thank you. Genevieve,
Aye.
thank you. Alvin,
Aye.
thank you. Carla, thank you.
Aye.
John,
Aye.
thank you. Jennifer Grobe,
Aye.
Jennifer Hamilton,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
thank you. And I also vote aye.
Sorry, quick question on since it's been a while, on the top section where it says motion, second, and then vote. What do I put for vote? I can't remember. Does anyone know?
Motion carries. So if everyone's in
Okay.
favor, and then so then Delphina will say all in favor, motion carries, right? So
Okay.
you wait for him to say it, then you type it in and you're good to go.
All right, let's pretend I already said it, but motion carries, all in favor.
There, motion carries. There you go. Mhm.
Okay. So now the next item, invitation to the public to address the board. Do any of the guests wish to have any comments or any questions, concerns? I don't think we do, so let's move on to reports. And our first report is the data presentation. So I'm not sure if that'll be Dr. Renti or not, but I'm going to mute mine and just let her or them begin.
Okay, I think that's Mr. Finley.
Mr. Finley, I can share the presentation. if you-
Yes, please.
Let me get that up. Mm,
And so you have it open already in your window.
oh, Sorry.
Alrighty, this is a presentation that Dr. Renti presented for the RSSC School Board, and we wanted to share the presentation with all of you. We had shared this presentation, part of it with our teachers already. There were some modifications, and this is the most updated version. Next slide, Marilyn. So we're going to first start off with our school overview. Currently, we have 641 students enrolled. We recently did our lottery for grades K through 5. We now have 23 of our 25 teachers returning, which is 92%. The 2 teachers that are not returning, they are moving out of state with their families. We currently serve grades TK through 6. As you know, our average class size is 21 students, and we have 51.3% FRL, that students are receiving free or reduced lunch. We are currently located renting a building from the Grace Methodist Church. There is construction that is near completion where we have expanded our facilities to cater to more classrooms for our special ed department, our interventionist department, as well as some other teacher classrooms. Next slide. Just to give you an update with where we are with COVID, as you know, we submitted a school waiver and have been open for in-person instruction as of November 2nd, 2020. We have remained open, and we currently are still providing 3 options for our families, which is a hybrid track, A and B, where students come bi-weekly, essential track, where students are there every day, Monday through Friday, and distance learning options for students that want to participate in instruction from home. Some protocols that we have put in place ensure that we're keeping our students, staff, and families safe. Sneeze guards in the classroom, physical distancing per CDC guidelines, hand washing stations, temperature being taken through our health screenings, temperature and health screenings, ongoing disinfecting of high touch areas. We have an isolation room for students exhibiting symptoms, and we are enforcing no sharing of materials. And we continue to update these protocols as we receive updated information from CDC as time goes by. Next slide. We're going to share with you what our student demographics are. We have an 18% white population, 7.8, approximately 8% with 2 or more races. We have a 4% Asian population, African-American to 23.5, a 1% Filipino, and a 45% Hispanic. So we can see that majority of the kids we serve fall into Hispanic and African-American categories. Next slide. With regards to our enrollment student groups, we have 6% of our students being English language learners. We have 51% of our students being socioeconomically disadvantaged. We have a 1% homeless population and a 6% students with disability population, other known as SPED-Ed. And we have students that fall in the other category, which belongs to 36%. Financial update. You can just take a few seconds and look at that. We're not going to spend too much time on this slide, but you can see year 1, year 2, year 3, total revenue, total expenses, operating income, and our fund balance.
I do want to, if we can stay on that slide for just a second, I do want to add just one little note that the fund balance is the revenue, that's the amount of money that we have in reserve. And so it's recommended that we have a 5% reserve. As you can see, we're at 23% at the end of this year and then 31% in the 3rd year out. The reason why we have such a large fund balance is that we're looking at the prospect of getting a permanent building at some point, and then also maybe which would happen before, expanding into middle school. And so that's why you'll see that reserve at the number that it is. You normally won't see that in districts, again, only because you want to spend the money on kids, right? And so you don't want to look like you're not spending your funds on kids. But right now we're being very conservative so that we can expand where necessary. And that if anyone, especially where our students are concerned, we do make them a priority, and we can substantiate through our LCAP goals how much money we do spend on them. But you'll see that that fund balance rising because we have future goals of making creating and finding a more permanent location for us.
Next slide, Marlon. Okay, so we sent out some surveys to our families and students just to basically check in with them to hear their feedback as we provide services for families. And the results from the parent satisfaction survey is displayed on the screen. with regards to being provided a high quality education by REACH, 60% of our parents strongly agree that we provide a high quality education. 30% agree that REACH provide a high quality education. So we have a 90% overall satisfaction rate with regards to a high quality education. When it comes to a safe environment for their students or their children, 62% of families strongly agree that the learning environment is safe. 34, approximately 35% agree. 62% strongly agree. 34%, 35% agree that the environment is safe. So we have an overall of 97% reporting that REACH has created a safe learning environment for their kids. And we are super proud and happy to hear this because we want to make sure that family feels comfortable dropping off their students at our campus every single day. We also submitted a survey to our students, and this is what they said. We asked them, do you like REACH? This was one of the questions that was included in the survey. 84% of them said yes. 8% of them said sometimes. 5% says, I don't know. And 3% says no. We also asked some open-ended questions, and on the screen, you can see what some of the students have said. We had highlighted in yellow ones that really stood out to us. And students said things like, they want us to have a 7th grade so they can stay. They want us to know, they want to know, how do we come up with fun games and how do we get the best teachers? So they are telling us that they really appreciate their teachers and they know that their teachers are the best. So they want to know what we are doing to create such a wonderful place called school for them. They again seeking to find out, can we get higher grades? They're hoping that REACH keeps going and going and going because they don't want to leave our school. They want us to know that they like REACH and they enjoy coming to school because they are happy here. So the survey results showed us that kids are happy coming to school every day. I was even talking to someone in the front office yesterday. There's this particular kindergarten girl, she cries every single day when her dad comes to pick her up. And all she says is, I don't want to go home. I want to stay in school. I don't want to go home. So they really enjoy coming to school, and the survey confirms that for us. Next slide. They also said that so far REACH was a dream. Some people can't believe that this is the school that I'm going to. They feel so comfortable. They come here every day and they're like, it's the best school ever. A student said that she liked REACH to know that the school is different from any other school. And again, they keep asking, can we have a 7th grade? One student said the school changed their life. And they have 3 more months left. So she knows that she's going to miss everyone here at REACH. Next slide. These are also some comments that our students shared. You can take a few seconds and read them. They want to thank us for being so nice and showing so much fun. A student said they went to another school and they never had things like house competition, and this is the best school ever in their entire life. I want to thank Dr. Renty for making this school such an amazing school. One student wants to know if they can bring pets to school. Maybe we consider a pet day at some point. And next slide, Marilyn. The student said, I want them to know of all of my 6 years of coming here, I've always been treated like family. And this is something we hear from students, staff, parents, everyone feel welcome at REACH and they feel like they can call this place their second home because everyone feels like family just stepping onto our campus. Next slide. So now we're going to look at some student data. During the school year, we administer the STAR assessment 4 times per year to really gather student progress from the beginning of the year to the end of the school year. So we administer this assessment in grades kinder through 6 in August, November, February, March, and June. So the data we're going to show you here today reflect the results from the latest assessment done in February, end of February, early March, and we expected to take this assessment again as we close the school year in 2 more weeks. So let's show you where we are at currently. So the assessment we take is the STAR Early Literacy Assessment for kindergarten, and grades 1 through 6 takes the STAR Reading Assessment and the STAR Math Assessment. The difference is that the STAR Early Literacy Assessment is a combination of both math and ELA in one assessment, whereby in grades 1 through 6, they take the test separately. So you have a reading assessment and a math assessment. And this assessment is done via the computer. When we look at the key to determine where our students fall, they are graded on a scale of 1, 2, 3, and 4, which has matching colors. So 1 is red, 2 is yellow, 3 is green, and 3 is blue, and 4 is green. For students to be proficient, where we want all of our students to be, they must have achieved a level 3 and above to show that they are proficient. So we want all of our students to be achieving level 3s and level 4s. Level 2 tells us that they are close by and we just need to push them a little bit to get to level 3. And level 1 tells us that we have some work to do. So when we look at the ELA data from the assessment done in March, you see 1st through 6th grade on the screen. The green represents the percentage of students that were proficient or above grade level. The blue represents the students that are at grade level. So when you combine the blue and the green together for each grade, that tells you the percentage of students that are proficient. So for example, in 1st grade, we have 63% of students proficient in 1st grade. In 2nd grade, we have 57% proficient in ELA, and so on for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. You can take a few seconds and analyze the data in your brain. So our green and our blue bars or sections represent proficiency. Red and yellow represents the work that we need to get done with regards to ELA. So you can see across the board, it's somewhat consistent with regards to the amount of students in red. It's roughly around 18, 19, 20% as the average. In 6th grade, we have 13%, but roughly there's some consistency with regards to where everyone is falling with regards to the work we need to do. And you can see over half of our students in each grade is proficient in ELA. Next slide. We're going to do the same thing for math. So take a good look at our math scores for the last assessment. Again, blue and green represents proficiency. Yellow represents almost there, and red tells us that we have some work to do. So 1st grade is performing really well. And you can see as we go up the ladder where the work gets a little bit more rigorous and challenging, we see that proficiency level starting to decline. So we have already started putting things into place to tackle these gaps, and we have already highlighted or shortlisted some areas of focus to close this gap for the next school year. So that's math. Next slide. We put the kindergarten data on a separate slide because the assessment is a combination of both math and ELA. It's the same rubric. Green represents at level. 4 represents the blue. I'm sorry, what am I saying? The green represents above benchmark. Blue represents at benchmark, and yellow and red below. So in kindergarten, you can see that we have 98% of our students from 2020 at benchmark. And then when we come over to 2021, when we do that comparison, we have 60, 70, 84% of our students at benchmark. We know it's a pandemic year, so we expected a little bit of learning loss, but we are still happy to see that majority of our students in kindergarten are still proficient at this point in the school year. Next slide. When we look at our school as a whole with regards to ELA, comparing this year's data around this time, 2020 to 2021. So when the students took the STAR assessment in March last year compared to this year's data, this is a comparison. We see that last year around this time, there were just slightly more students in ELA in the green. slightly more in the blue as well. So we had more students proficient, but that number is relatively close when we compare the 2 years. So even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, students are still performing really well in ELA. And we are happy to see that. Next slide. Looking at math, comparing where we were last year in March to this year, March, we can see that there has been a little bit of decline in the green and a little bit in the red as well. So we have had some learning loss in math this year as expected. And later on, we're going to talk about what are some contributors to, what were some contributors to this learning loss other than the obvious, the pandemic. So we know that in math, our work is cut out for us, and we intend to push really hard next year to get students on level. Next slide. So when we dove into our student groups, the bar shows you the percentage proficient for each group. So out of our students in each particular category, this is the percentage proficient. So we have 50% of our English language learners proficient in ELA, 55% of our socioeconomically disadvantaged students proficient in ELA. Our special ed students, 40% of them are proficient, and this is as of March. Our African American, 52% proficient. We have our white students with 73% proficiency, and our Hispanic students with 62% proficiency. So overall, we think these numbers are really good. And even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, we are happy to see that in most categories, except one, we have over 50% of our student groups proficient in ELA. Let's switch over to math. In math, we have 41% proficiency with regards to our English language learners, 37% of our socioeconomically disadvantaged students proficient in math. We have our SPED students at 27%, our African American at 41%, and our whites at 53%, and our Hispanic at 42% proficiency. So I think both in math and ELA, we are seeing this year, March, that our students with disabilities, our SPED students, a little bit below, so they would be part of our focus groups for the oncoming school year. Next slide. With regards to what we saw when we looked at the data after the assessment in March, with regards to ELA, we saw that the performance was consistent across grade levels, and this was due to us having our annual summer PD this year during summertime for ELA. We also purchased a new ELA curriculum that our teachers have been implemented to Fidelity. We have monthly data meetings, and from those data meetings, we incorporate reteach cycles where teachers focus on gaps or trends that they would have seen after analyzing data after weekly assessments. With regards to that learning loss in math, unlike ELA, we weren't able to provide our teachers with a math summer PD due to COVID. We also had to shorten our school day, which meant that students weren't exposed to the regular length of math blocks. So the math block has been cut by half or so this school year. So that provided less practice opportunities for students. We also realized that having students show their work over a hybrid facilitation was really hard. And we have been using our Singapore math approach based on the build, draw, write method. And due to the pandemic and distance learning and hybrid, we had limited opportunities for that building practice and opportunities. So we assessed our data and we contribute all of these factors listed in math as reasons for our learning loss, which we expected. Next slide. With regards to the student groups, we saw that the white students outperformed the other groups in both math and ELA. We also saw that all 6 groups performed better in ELA. We saw that the students with disabilities, as I mentioned before, were the lowest performing group in both ELA and math. The English language learners African Americans and Hispanic groups are performing near or at the same level in math. With regards to our mitigation efforts, we are providing after-school tutoring. So teachers are pushing really hard after we dismiss the kids at 2:45, still having those small groups, closing those gaps with regards to targeted skills. We are offering free tutoring this coming summer. We have monthly data meetings where we reflect on the data that we have seen. And from those data meetings, we progress monitor. Our interventionist team is also providing tutoring sessions throughout the day. We also have teachers doing small group instruction and pullouts throughout the day as well. Our school leaders, our admin team, provide teacher observation, conducts teacher observation and provides immediate feedback. And we also have provided professional development where we could have throughout the school year. Next slide. Do you have any questions based on the data?
Hi, this is John. I do. Can you go back to the slide with the kindergarten test comparison between 2020 and 2021?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, it'll be easier for me to find it this way than giving us a headache by scrolling quickly. Let's see. Kinder. Perfect.
So my question is about your percentages or the determination of percentages. The March 2020 is fine because this doesn't show for the yellow, but for the March 2021, I'm just trying to figure out what kind of scale or percentage scale you're using, because it's 102%.
60, 70, 80.
I think you probably rounded up. We should have checked that.
Yeah, so two particular categories might have been rounded up. The computer
Okay.
rounded up automatically. So one might have been like 6.6 and 10.9. So it would have rounded up to 11 and rounded up to 7, which would have given us that 2%. So we should have double checked that. That is our we missed that. Thank you.
Well, I mean, you guys probably did better than you thought in that case.
Yeah, they rounded up more than likely.
Okay, that was just my question. It was just
Yeah,
a little
good.
confusing.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Fix that.
Any other questions? Okay, if there are no questions, then we'll move on to 6.2.
I believe that is me on 6.2. Let's see. Yes, so I will go over the the parent results. And I will be presenting using the JotForm application, since that's where we collected the results from parents. Okay. All right. So this is kind of lengthy, but Mr. Finley did highlight some of the important aspects, but I wanted to go through to show you just the general the parent peer consensus on what they feel they are getting here at Reach. So overall, we had about 155 responses. Mostly it's been a majority of parents that have responded to our surveys. And as you can tell, the majority have been kinder parent responses. And then other entries are a mixture of parents that most likely have more than one child that attends Reach. Here we just get a basic understanding of the race and ethnicity of our parents responding to this survey. And as you see on the right, they are very satisfied with the communication they receive between progress reports. You'll see on the left here our first question that is labeled T1. So one of the things that Ms. Navarro wanted to do with this survey, and she'll mention that more in her Title I update, is that we wanted to embed within this survey questions that that are specific to Title I. So with Title I, we are creating a school-wide plan. So there are specific things that we need to know in order to craft that. For example, this question deals with curriculum and instruction. And then the next question is how teachers are communicating with parents about what is being conducted in the classroom. So overall, we see really high levels of parent satisfaction in this area, in these areas. Again, this section really focuses on academics. So we see an overall consensus of parents being really happy about the instructional materials. And as Mr. Finley highlighted in the RUSD presentation, parents are very impressed with the level of instruction they're receiving here at REACH. Next, we get parents' perceptions of how the types of supports that their child is receiving, and again, access to the education and support. And again, we are seeing that parents are extremely satisfied here at REACH. In these questions, we see a little bit more about their perceptions on engagement and being active partners, and understanding, as the second question shows, how they can engage in order to help close the achievement gap for all students. And as we end this section on academics, for the here we have that parents do see that the multi-tier systems that we're using are helping their individual child. And overall, within the comments, we have a lot of praises on how the teachers are doing a magnificent job during distance learning and really trying to continue these engaging efforts to, lessen the mitigation loss that we've seen in the data. Next, we have a couple questions in terms of the discipline. So in terms of the rules and the behavior expectations, what we see is, for the most part, parents understand what the expectations are, and they're in agreement that REACH does have high expectations for students here. As you can see with our, I don't know if you've seen our Richie's Rules posters, and that, REACH Rocks, we're definitely trying to convey to students leadership at a young age, and parents are seeing that. And then really quickly, we did have some responses, mostly parents not having dealt with any of discipline issues for them to really comment. Next, we have social emotional questions. And one thing to note here, we do have a lot of parents that state, I don't know, but for the most part, parents feel that there are additional social emotional supports if they reach out to us. In terms of any type of harassment or bullying, it is a little split, but through the comments, we're seeing that parents don't necessarily have experiences to really comment. Hence, a lot of the neither agree or disagree responses. But for the most part, they do notice that we have strong efforts in order to put a stop to any type of event or that could potentially turn into harassment or bullying. In terms of our school climate and communication, we see high scores in parents' perceptions of how well we communicate respecting beliefs, other people's beliefs, since we are a very diverse campus, and also in communication. And when it comes to awareness of attendance policies and procedures, as we know, attendance is really important. We need to have kids more engaged and more, I guess, in tune during the few moments that we have with them. So parents do see the communication there. In terms of Reach being a place of respect and a safe place for their child, overwhelmingly, we see here that parents do agree with these statements. And then again, as Mr. Finley highlighted, parents they do feel welcome here at Reach. And with the comments, we do get have more comments where parents they feel safe and they appreciate interactions with us. So then the next section we have is, I believe, more communication. So when it comes to addressing us or addressing school staff and teachers through different avenues such as phone calls and messages, and also the way we communicate when students are absent, we do see an overwhelming response from parents that communication is clear. Again, more communication and attendance, awareness of attendance policies, and being informed about activities. We know none of this could be accomplished without Ms. Daler sending consistent messages through different avenues. So parents are cognizant of the fact there's different ways that they're being connected with the happenings at the school. And then lastly, again, in regards to communications, most parents are very happy about how we are communicating, of course, with our use of Dojo, and also the way teachers are good at being great communicators. And then the next section after the school climate or communication deals with more school climate and parents' contributions and how they feel they are engaged. So I think this is a really important section for school site council to take note, as this information will help you understand how to engage your own peers in attending these meetings. So one of the things that we did ask our parents is wanting to know how they feel they're being considered in the decisions that are being made, or if they're being considered active partners with school leadership. And as you all know, the parent committees, the board meetings as well, even responding to surveys is a way parents can use their voice in order to help shape activities and actions on our campus. So for the most part, parents do see that their input is appreciated. Again, this question on the right, we really wanted to ask more their awareness about these different type of parent committees. Right here we asked them, are they aware of local control and accountability budget meetings, school site council, our APAC, and the governing board meetings? For the most part, I see it's very interesting to note that they are aware. A majority of them are aware, but they do not attend. So I think future conversations within here and other school committees should take note of that and possibly see what better ways to engage them, to have them feel welcome, or have them more interested in wanting to attend these meetings with their peers. One thing we've noted here within a few comments we've received on this section, parent support should be encouraged, not scrutinized and sidelined, thanking us for going the extra mile. And then to the right, for those that did respond that they have attended these meetings, we wanted to gauge what we can do within these meetings to really engage them. So we did have them respond to whether we need to add more visuals or PowerPoints, worksheets, childcare, and refreshments. And we asked them whether they needed more of these items, if we've had enough of these items, we need less of them, or it's not applicable. And for the most part, a lot of these responses fall in that we're doing enough. We're providing enough visuals. The PowerPoint presentations seem to be, consistent, and we have the appropriate data and information on there. So it seems that we are fulfilling, I guess, these types of requirements for our presentations, but it would be interesting to know other avenues and other things that can be introduced in meetings to pique their interest and have more of these parents attend. Next are questions. Oh, and then, I'm sorry, for those that didn't attend, we also wanted to know why they weren't attending. For the most part, we see here in the purple, 52% and 43 people that responded, that the meeting dates and times don't work with their schedule. We also see overwhelmingly in the light pink at 16%, I don't know what the committees do. Then we have in the red, 15% said that they need childcare. And I know it's been interesting with COVID with a lot of, we noticed that Zoom has facilitated more increased attendance, but at the same time, we do note that childcare is very important, especially when we were once on campus doing these meetings. And then we've had some parents also blatantly respond, and it's fine, it's good to know. And the orange at 10% that they don't want to be involved in these parent committees. Others clicked other at 5%, a little bit of all of the above. And lastly, at a very small fraction, I don't feel like I have suggestions or opinions that would be better than the leadership. So these are kind of like the peers that aren't attending, what they feel are the barriers for not being involved. And again, just some general comments on how the meetings can be more engaging. We see that they would like more consideration in the dates and times that they are held. As you see on the third response, that it would be helpful for those with evening obligations. So just something to keep in mind. And next we have parent perceptions about administrators and staff. So parents feel that administrators do go out of their way to help students, and they're able to speak with them when concerns or questions arise. So overwhelmingly, we see that parents have had positive experiences with a very proactive admin team. And then we also wanted to ask them their interactions with classified staff, such as in nutrition, physical education, the front office, and whether based on their experience, that they go out of their way to help students and families. And as you see here, we have 85% of parents that were surveyed that do feel that the classified team goes above and beyond. And again, these comments here, for example, special ed administrators are diamond and more than responsive. Nutrition folks have been the friendliest. So one thing that we note here is the culture and the people that are selected for these positions are one of the assets, the important pieces that allow parents to feel welcomed and feel like they are being heard when questions arise. And lastly, in this parent survey, we definitely wanted to capture parents' perceptions of how the school admin team is responding to the ever evolving COVID pandemic. So for the most part, our parents here feel that we are, our health and safety protocols do reflect local, state, and federal recommended guidelines, and that we are communicating effectively on what our policies are and if there's any changes, such as in in-person, Facebook, or in other methods. Again, we also, their perception of how the feedback or two-way communication between COVID-related safety and protocol questions, And again, how we're enforcing safety precautions. Overwhelmingly, our parents feel that we're doing a great job in communicating this. Again, how parents feel and the perception of parents when it comes up to the school being safe for students and other guests. They overwhelmingly agree, and that reach connects students to resources. Especially, I know one of the questions that was brought up a couple meetings ago, wanting to know how we're communicating that resources are available to parents that might be struggling through the pandemic. So when it comes to resources available, technology troubleshooting, food and uniform assistance, health services, when their parents were surveyed, they felt that at 86% that we have connected with families when they've been in need. And lastly, we wanted to gauge the perception of where the parents are, that we're here with resources for them. And again, here we have about 87% of families are aware of the resources, and if they don't know where to go, that our front office staff would be happy, to help them and direct them in the correct direction. And again, just general comments about COVID from our parents, and overwhelmingly very happy with the protocols that we have in place. One of the comments on the fourth one down, they feel that our school is a great model for other schools to follow. And from what we noticed since being open since November, we've have really shined when it comes to the safety that's highlighted here. And that is the parent climate survey. As I said, it was a long one. I don't know if anybody has any questions in regards to what your parent peers have responded. I hear nothing, so then I will stop sharing this presentation. I want to thank you so much.
Thank you, Marilyn. And now we have the LCAP. So Dr. Renti, whenever you're ready.
All right, so Marilyn's going to share now. Am I sharing before Navarro? Is that what the lineup is? Okay, all right. I will not be before you long. So Marilyn's going to share the presentation.
Yeah, those parent surveys are very long, but very good.
No, that had nothing to do with you, Marilyn. I'm just saying, I'm going to fly through this really fast.
Okay, that for you.
So while Marilyn is bringing that up, LEAs, of which we are one, LEA, there's a lot of acronyms in the teaching world. LEA stands for Local Educational Agency, of which a charter school is one, a school district is one. Riverside County Office of Ed is also an LEA. We are all required to set goals and action plans to leverage state revenue in order to improve student outcomes. So what the LCAP does is it presents an opportunity for parents to influence our educational priorities and our budgetary spending. So a survey will be sent out next week in order for us to garner parent input with regards to our new LCAP goals. And so we're seeking that input in order to, include parent feedback as it relates to how we will move forward and where we will allocate spending for the 2021 school year. Next slide, Marilyn. So we're going to go over previous plans really quickly, and I won't go into in details with regards to these plans, but just to give you an idea, in 2018-19, when I think this was our first LCAP goals, we actually started off with 8. And you'll see at the top where it says estimate for LCFF supplemental and concentration spending. LCFF is local control funding formula. So state of California has a funding formula based on our ADA. We receive supplemental and concentration funds for charter schools. They're primarily supplemental. I think this is the first year that we actually have concentration funds. Usually it's just one pot. So this would, the allocation for 18-19 was a little over $460,000 that we had to spend on our school priorities based on our local needs. And so at that time, we had 8 goals. What we looked at was a lot of the data like you see today. We looked at the data, we looked at what parent surveys, what was the need for our community, and we came up with 8 goals. And so number 1 was to increase ADA, which was the attendance rate. The goal was 96%. Goal number two was promote digital literacy and enhancing overall academic performance. So what you would see under goal number 2, for instance, would be that desire at the time to have a one-to-one technology correspondence. And so this started back in 18-19, and we're happy to say that as of this year, we have a one-to-one in grades 2nd through 6th grade. And next year we plan to add a one-to-one Chromebook correspondence to 1st grade. So this started back in 18-19 with having this goal, directing our funds in this direction, getting parent feedback to see if this was a goal that everyone was in agreement with. And so these goals really do drive the direction of the school and how we allocate funding, and we see outcomes because of it. Goal number 3 was increasing language proficiency for our EL students. Number 4, as you can see, ongoing assessment data to inform instruction, using data to inform instruction. And so there were a lot of subcategories underneath that goal that, again, I won't go into. What I will go into is what we have later in terms of what our goals are now. Goal 5 initially in 2018-19 was to execute full implementation of Common Core state standards. Goal 6 was improve student academic outcomes by increasing student parent involvement. Goal 7 was to engage students in STEM and project-based activities. Goal 8, increase academic performance amongst our African-American males. What we found at that time, and the reason why we added Goal 8, was our African-American males were amongst our lowest performing demographics. And so based on local need, we focused on trying to mitigate the achievement gap that we were seeing amongst this population of students. Moving on to the next one, Marilyn. We found that the 8 goals were starting to overlap. We found that as in LCAP is a long narrative that we submit to the state, to the district, the county, and the state with regards to, again, parent input, local goals based on local needs, and then a narrative around how money was going to be spent. What we found that the 8 goals, there was a lot of overlap in terms of like what we were saying, what we were using and spending the money for. And so it didn't make sense to continue with 8 goals. We took those 8 goals and we condensed them into 4. Pretty much the focus stayed the same, but they became 4 overarching goals. So academic and college readiness, parent engagement, school climate, professional development. So when you hear things like school climate, we're thinking about the climate surveys that both Mr. Finley and Marilyn shared tonight. We're also thinking about, looking at suspension rates, how many students are suspended, or attendance rate. That all falls under the school climate. And again, professional development. As you can see in 2019-20, as our ADA increased, which means our number of students on campus increased, so did our supplemental and concentration funding for LCFF, which was over $582,000. Next slide, Marilyn. Last year, so now we're going to go over very briefly and we're done. Last year, we did not have an LCAP. What we had was a, Marilyn knows at the top of her head, what is it called? We ended up with a narrative for COVID, a written plan for COVID. So the LCAP was not something that was required. However, we are back into the swing of things, getting ready for the 2021 school year. And so we now need to begin that LCAP process. Again, what we want is parent input with regards to this budget. As you can see for 2021, the estimate is the concentration and supplemental funds have increased a little over $563,000, almost $564,000. This is not our budget. Our budget's over $7 million, but these are concentrated funds that should be going toward those priorities, right? we definitely need parent input in order to help us to allocate these funds. As you can see, so this is a good example of what our new goals are. So again, even with the 4 goals, we were seeing a lot of overlap, and it made sense to us so that we weren't being redundant in our narratives. What we've done is we combined the 4 goals now down to 2 will be what we will be suggesting to parents as we move forward. So goal number 1, the overarching goal is academic achievement and professional development. So underneath that goal would be those subcategories. So we'll look at technology, one-on-one correspondence for all of our students, our English language learner support, African-American student support, if that's still, the data shows there's still a need there. STEM and project-based materials. When you see PLC and PD, so those are professional learning communities with our teachers, professional development for our teachers and staff. Number 6 is induction program for new teachers, and then coaching for our teachers comes up underneath goal 1, our academic achievement and professional development. And then goal number 2 is school climate. And so again, nothing has really gone away. It's just been condensed. So parent meetings, increasing student attendance rates, African-American Parent Advisory Committee, our School Site Council Committee, our English Language Learner, English Language, or ELAC Committee, which is English Language Advisory Committee, all come up underneath the school climate because we are interested in parent feedback and parent involvement in the school. So basically what we want are you all to know so that you can spread the word and help to support us. As you can see, we take our parent feedback seriously, and it does inform decisions going forward. And so starting next week, we'll give everyone about another week. We do have to present the data to our, I think actually tomorrow, we'll be presenting the data to our school board for their approval for LCAP, but we will be sending out a parent survey with regards to these 2 goals. And based on each goal, there will be a line item showing how much money we will spend toward each category and specifically what that money will be spent toward. So under technology, for instance, it may have replacing devices for students. It may be replacing teacher devices. Last year, it included Promethean boards in the classroom. Next year, for sure, will include a one-to-one device correspondence for 1st grade. So we're getting to that saturation point. Those types of things will be outlined. Line items will be, again, next to each subcategory. And again, we're asking for parent feedback. We'd love to have your feedback. Based on survey data, we will take that information, incorporate it into the LCAP, and present parents with a summation of our new goals going forward. Next slide. That being said, are there any questions? Going once, going twice. All right, gone. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lateef.
I think that's the thing, because
state that we do have another survey circulating at this time for parents. It's for the Extended Learning Opportunity Grant. So we are looking to collect some very quick feedback by next Wednesday. I'm happy to say we have about over 100 responses as of now since we posted yesterday. So I think parents are very are very encouraged by the fact that as it's labeled, it's a grant. So we're looking to utilize those funds for additional supports in the classroom. So spread the word.
Hold on. And maybe you all can be a voice for us. And so if parents are saying, why are there so many surveys and it seems like they're asking us the same questions? Well, blame the state, not REACH, because they've asked us not to combine our the learning grant goals with the LCAP goals. And so the questionnaire has to be separate. Just want you to know that. So we are hoping to get responses on both.
Okay, so I think we're ready for Ms. Navarro's presentation.
Okay, perfect. Which presentation are we talking about? Title 1? I feel like I have 2.
Yeah, you're doing the Title I one now.
Okay, perfect. Marilyn, do I have sharing privileges? Oh, I do.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that now. Can you all see that?
We can, Ms. Navarro, we can.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just be straightforward with you all and say you have heard most of the material on this presentation. So I mean, I think Mr. Finley and Dr. Renti did a great job at presenting data and information, so it will definitely repeat itself. And what you'll see from me is that I'll just go through it pretty quickly as I feel like you're informed. Let me know if you have questions on any of this. So we're still working on drafting the school-wide Title I plan, but here's what we have and we want to present to you. We do have, as Dr. Renti stated, two goals. And the first goal is to increase academic achievement and provide professional development. And underneath that goal for Title I, we have three sub-goals, which are sub-goal number one is to increase student achievement in ELA and math with added support to subgroups. B is look at equity gap, and especially through COVID, right? What kind of equity gap we have. And then C, excuse me, is to provide ongoing professional development for teachers and admin as well. Our second goal is school climate, and the sub goals underneath that are to increase student attendance rate to a 96% and to decrease suspension rates as well. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of an issue with my screen because I see you all, but not my screen. So 1 second. Here you go. So under the first academic achievement and professional development goal, as I mentioned before, we have the sub goal of increasing student achievement under ELA and math. I wanted to discuss with you that the growth targets are to increase the percentage of students on track to proficiency in both of these areas. And the rationale behind that is STAR assessment scores really have shown us the need to improve in these areas. So I wanted to show you here with this chart, just at a glance, what the ELA percentages are and the math ones as well. Again, you've already seen these numbers, but the difference, if you can see here from 2020 to 2021, I only focused for you on the two focus groups that we will be targeting, which are the intervention groups and urgent intervention, if you recall Mr. Finley presenting that. Matter of fact, I have added them in a pie chart form here. So this is what you were able to see through Mr. Finley. So we're focusing on the yellow and the red, essentially, is what this is here. So for 2020, for intervention, we had a 19% of students needing our support. And now for 2021, we have 21%. So that was an increase of 2% of students that need our support. Under urgent intervention, we went from a 14% to a 20%. So it's a 6% increase that we have to support. Under math, we went from a 27% to a 33% under intervention. So it's a 6% increase. And for the urgent intervention, we went from a 19% to a 29%, which is a 10% increase. So if we focus on the increase side of things, this is where we can deduct that we definitely need to improve in both of these areas. This is in pie form chart, what we just discussed, and this is for math. So I'm going to move along. So mitigating the loss will look like the LEA offering free tutoring over the summer. We have a summer program coming up. We're going to continue monitoring progress, holding monthly data meetings. We're going to offer intervention tutoring sessions throughout the day. We will offer small group instruction. We will offer pullouts, and we'll continue teacher observations and offering feedback. And we will also offer staff professional development as well. We will continue using STAR assessment scores to monitor the progress. And as to report the progress, we will, leadership will ensure that the progress is reported to the students, parents, and district level staff as well. Okay. So I did want to present to you part of the surveys that you've already heard. Again, the parent satisfaction survey rate was pretty high, really, 90% overall parent satisfaction rate. And I'm saying that to say to introduce because we're about to talk about equity. So if we are, oh, good Lord, hold on one second. I'm getting ahead of myself. Here we go. So using the satisfaction, we're going to play into our strengths, obviously, and continue pulling in to help our students under the equity, to help breach that equity gap. I do want to present to you this again here because we need to, in order to understand our equity gap, we need to understand our players and who we are truly looking at. So here we have 6% of English learners that we will be, supporting. Social economically disadvantaged students, we have a 51% rate again that will need our extra support. Students with disabilities, we have a 6%, and then we have a 1% of homeless population here. Again, I put it in a table form so you can all see our rationale based on STAR assessment scores as to why we need to help these various groups improve. And so on the left side of this chart here, you can see the student focus groups, which are the ones that I just mentioned: the English learners, the socially and economic disadvantaged, students with disabilities, African American students, Hispanics, and whites. In the middle column, you'll see the ELA proficient percentage, and then on the far right, you'll see the math proficient percentages. And as you can go down the list, you can see and compare our subgroups. So you can see, for example, that the students with disabilities are the ones performing the least the proficient. And so you could go down, the white student population are the ones that are actually performing at the highest. I wanted you to have them all on one space so you can see the need that we see to improve and support these focus groups, thus breaching the equity gap. Here, I was able to go ahead and just show you again the ELA groups. So just looking across the graphs here, you can see the white student population performing at a 73%. So what we want is for all of the rest of those groups to get closer to the highest group. Again, the students with disadvantage, with disabilities are the ones performing at the lowest at 40%. So there's our gap. We have our work cut out and our focus. Here's for math. It's very similar to our ELA results as well. So again, looking at an equity gap, the white students outperform other students in both groups, ELA and math. All 6 groups perform better in ELA. The students with disabilities are the lowest performing groups. And then the English learners, African Americans and Hispanics are performing near or at the same level in math. So we're looking at data in all different forms so we can know how to support these groups and in which areas. Okay, the growth targets is to increase the percent of selected groups of students on track to proficiency in English language, arts, and mathematics in order to breach the gap. Mitigating the loss looks like obviously the same offerings for the rest of the student population, but we want to add to these specific groups, providing additional resources such as technology, food, school supplies, mental health support, or anything else that they may need to perform at the level that we want them to. Again, to monitor our progress, we will continue using STAR assessment scores. We will also be using student intake information, where we will be reviewing submitted FRL applications and reviewing information provided to our outreach task force, to continue staying on top of these students' specific needs. Again, the local leadership will continue ensuring that the progress is reported to students, parents, and staff as well. Okay, finally, the last subgroup under the first goal is to provide ongoing professional development for teachers and admin. Some of the trainings that are ongoing are around curriculum implementation, technology integration, data monitoring, restorative justice, whole brain teaching, classroom management, Singapore math, step up to writing, engagement strategies, TLAC training, and small group instruction. Some of the added summer trainings that are coming up this summer will be focusing around student discourse, productive struggle, and inquiry and questioning strategies. As far as the second goal, which is the school climate, I went ahead and reviewed again, it's stuff that you've already seen. But as far as parents responding in terms of satisfaction, 97.1% of our parents reported that REACH has created a safe learning environment. And here it is in a pie form from our students. They also showed satisfaction as well. So 84% of our students from 4th through 6th grade showed a satisfaction that they're satisfied here at REACH. So I'm showing all that to say that this really speaks to our climate and what we've been doing with the students. Again, we want to play into our strengths of what we've been doing to continue promoting our school climate. And because of that, we have 2 subgroups under climate. We will continue increasing our student attendance rate to 96%. I did look at the dashboard, and just to show you, in 2019, we were at a yellow here as in terms of chronic absenteeism. So we definitely want to increase that, and we want to continue moving towards the blue. Also, in terms of suspension rates, we want them to decrease. I went ahead and added a snippet here so you can see where we're at in 2019. As you can see, we are in green, which is really excellent news. This really shows how much intervention we do before suspending. As we know, suspension's really not the most useful outcomes to students' behavior. So we're going to continue decreasing this. Again, the goal is to be in blue. I am now going to open up the floor for questions and feedback. Okay, so if nobody has that, I'm going to go ahead and end my presentation and turn the floor over back to Mr. Delfino.
Are you muted, Mr. Delfino?
I just hung on. Hello? Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties over here. Okay, thank you for that report, Ms. Navarro. Let me see now.
Why not?
Hold on, I'm sorry, one sec. Okay, so did everybody get a chance to review the meeting minutes from 2 months ago? It was a while ago that we last met. Okay, can I get somebody to motion to approve it then if there are no changes?
I motion to approve.
Can we get the agenda up, please? Thanks.
Oh my God.
Is Marilyn working on sharing the agenda? Okay, sorry.
You guys said must have run at 4:30. You took my phone. You took it.
Awesome. We are on 7.1 or 7.
Keep acting like that. Someone might eat the crap that you did.
Okay, can I get somebody to second that motion, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Genevieve. And now we'll vote. Carla, if you want to focus on typing, and I'll just go ahead and call it names. Ms. Navarro,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. Taylor,
Aye.
thank you. Genevieve,
Aye.
thank you. Alvin,
Aye.
thank you, sir. Carla,
Aye.
thank you. John,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. Grove,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. Hamilton, Ms. Hamilton, are you with us right now? Okay, let's put her under the absent column for now. She might have stepped away. Oh, here she comes. Ms.
Yeah.
Hamilton?
Yes, sorry.
I'm sorry, it's okay. Do you vote to approve the meetings from our February meeting?
Yes.
Thank you. I misspoke, the minutes. Thank you. Brett McIntosh?
Aye.
Thank you. And I also vote aye. So the motion carries. All in favor. That's what I say. Okay. Action 8.1. Yes, so I don't know if you got a chance, if you guys had a chance to look at this calendar. It is for the next school year because I believe this is our last meeting of this school year. So it was exciting. So there's one more year. And if you guys haven't had a chance to look at those calendars, there are two dates that are, one is for Veterans Day, which is in November, and the other one is spring break when we'll be off. So we can stay off those, just skip those months, or we can, oh, I'm sorry, my screen's moving around over here. Or we can amend this calendar, but I'm in favor. So if there are no changes, no amendments to be made at this moment, can I get somebody to motion we approve that calendar?
A quick question. We
Yes.
could change it if we need to. Like if we in October, like, hey, we
Yeah.
really need a November meeting, we could do that then, right?
Yeah, I think we're always allowed to call emergency meetings, but Ms. Navarro, if you could advise, I always kind of go to you.
I appreciate it. Yes, I believe we can always come back. Dr. Ante, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we can definitely rearrange the dates.
I think like even as our board though, we do try to stick to the dates as much as possible. So I think that if you kind of foresee that you might want to make changes, you should do it now. Other than that, I would just plan to stick to this calendar.
My only question would be probably not November, but in April, I feel like there was stuff we had to do last month. Is there stuff we're gonna have to do in April of next year?
That's a good point. Like toward the end of the year, there's usually a lot of stuff that starts piling up, right? So like if you were to have an April meeting, then you won't have to listen to like 4 presentations in one night, right? So you may want an April meeting. That's a good point, Genevieve. Up to you though.
So to that end too, and I don't know if this calendar is official. I see the dates and everything, but it's saying the second Tuesday of each month on it.
That
It's
is
Thursday.
Sorry, I should say Thursday.
So you are going to want to go up and change that should be a modification to the agenda, Carla. And so make another bullet and then, to change under that action item or on the calendar to change the date or the month to the day of the week to Thursday rather than Tuesday.
So do we need to motion to change, to have some sort of an April meeting?
I think we should. Last month we were supposed to meet and we canceled it because some of the reports that we wanted weren't ready yet. And some of the action items that we wanted to move forward with kind of depended on these reports or the data we were going to get from these reports. But we were originally only supposed to meet 4 times a year, and we moved it to monthly because we thought it was important. I think it's still important, including April. So I would prefer it if we added a day there in April. And looking at my calendar, so you guys are off for spring break that week. I would say we have it the week before then. April 7th would be the Thursday before.
So you don't have to motion, you can just open it up for discussion and then just in the discussion item, just say you want to add an April date. And then you all can go ahead and vote based on the changes.
Dr. Renti, would we be more or less likely? I know, this year has been a different beast. But if there are presentations and things we are going to want to look at next year, would it be more or less likely to need the spring break, like maybe to have the meeting after spring break instead of before, to kind of get those, I don't know, whatever data we're gathering or whatever it is done?
Yeah, because you know how we normally finish the STAR data like beginning of March. We would, we need time to be able to, collect all that data and then present. And so we wouldn't probably be ready to present this type of data until April or May.
Also, if we end up having a spring performance next year,
Yeah,
it might get a little hectic leading up to that.
in April.
Yeah, right. Because we usually have it right before we go out for spring break.
Yeah, April's kind of a crazy month. So
I'm kind of with Genevieve. I think if we're gonna have one in April, we should probably move to the week after instead of the week before.
yeah, makes sense. Is anyone looking at the calendar? What day is that exactly? So that would be
21st.
It's April 21st.
Yeah, I'm looking at the calendar now. So I see that for 21, 22, the spring break's actually April 4th through the 8th. So that week we come back, that would be the second Thursday. So I don't know if we'd want to have, we could still have the meeting on the 14th, but it's, after we get back from spring break. We'd have to have the agenda posted before we leave.
So I say give yourself some time and give yourself an extra week. Like, don't stress out. And then just do it the 21st. It's fine.
I want the committee to note that the APAC meets on the third Thursday of every month. So that would be the 21st. So if we wanted to do an April date, my suggestion would probably be, Tuesday the 19th. That way there is an overlap with people that need to be at both meetings.
Yeah.
What about the English learner? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. The
What
ELAC
about
committee.
ELAC? When's ELAC, Marilyn?
I thought they were Tuesdays, or maybe they're Wednesdays.
I don't know if I don't think they've given me dates for the next academic school year, nor like a pattern to follow.
Oh, okay.
So for your committee, it's second Thursday, APAC is third Thursday.
So you're saying that April 14th isn't actually on spring break?
Yeah, but then that's the week before that is actually the spring break. So it would be coming back from a break and, having to have things ready and then posting the agenda a week out.
So that's actually inaccurate, I guess is what John's getting to. So it says no meeting because of spring break. That's not accurate, right? So that needs to be amended. Okay.
I'm comfortable with saying the 19th. I don't think, I don't remember if there was a reason we said Thursdays, but I think that, we could probably figure out one different day for 1 month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with the 19th. Do we need to change the verbiage on here where it says meetings will continue to be held on the second Thursday of each month? Or are we okay just with that one odd day out? Like, from a legalistic standpoint, do we need to specify that one day is not the third Thursday of the month or second Thursday of the month?
I think it says unless otherwise stated pretty much covers that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
So just informally, is everybody okay with doing it on the 19th that month?
And I just want to make sure, Marilyn, so whomever did the calendar will take out that no meeting spring break, just that'll all go away, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
So then can we get a motion? Let's get the agenda back up, Marilyn, if you could, please. Thank you. Now let's get a motion to approve it with those changes then. So we're changing the verbiage from second Tuesday to second Thursday of each month. And then for the April 14th, we're changing it to April 19th. And we're erasing the part where it says no meeting spring break. All of that is actually just going to delete it. Okay, so can we get a motion to approve it that way?
Motion to approve.
John,
Second.
Rachel, did you second?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, now we'll go through the votes. Ms. Navarro, what say ye?
Aye.
Thank you. Rachel?
Aye.
Thank you. Genevieve?
Aye.
Thank you. Alvin?
Aye.
Thank you. Carla?
Aye.
Thank you. John?
Aye.
Thank you. Jennifer Grove?
Aye.
Thank you. Jennifer Hamilton?
Aye.
Thank you. Brett McIntosh?
Aye.
Thank you. And I say aye as well. So the motion carries. All are in favor. Okay. I'll just wait for Carla here for a second. Okay. Are there any comments from any of the board members? No? I just want to wish a happy belated Teacher Appreciation Day or week to all of our teachers. I know the beginning of that week was also Administrators Day, so thank you to Mr. Finley, Ms. Navarro, and Dr. Renti. Yeah, my kid loves the school. We really appreciate it. So we appreciate how hard you guys work with. I mean, I work for another school and I understand how difficult it is right now to have a positive effect on students and to reach the house. And it's just an impossible task and we feel constantly exhausted and we're excited that the end of the year is almost here. So I really want to thank you guys for putting up with that and still putting out a high quality school. I appreciate it so much.
I would like to add to that too, if you don't mind, that I got to have a couple conversations with some school board members of a different school board and a principal, assistant principal, another teacher having, so we all sat down and discussed what the school is doing and they were all extremely impressed by the kids, what you guys do, the activities and how you guys, your teaching methods and everything. So you guys are definitely making an impression on other schools as well.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for your feedback.
Okay, then if there's nothing else, without any further ado, the meeting is adjourned at 7:39. Can I get somebody to motion to approve the adjournment of the meeting?
I approve.
Thank you, Alvin, and somebody to second it.
Jennifer Grove, I'll second.
Thank you. And do we have to vote on this one? No, right?
Nope, no vote.
Meeting adjourned.
So no,
All
wait,
right.
so the next
Yes.
meeting is, next board
Oh.
meeting date on the bottom?
August
Yes.
12th.
August 12th.
We'll see you then. Have a great summer.
You guys
Alrighty,
did
everybody.
it. Great job, everyone. We're happy to have you. Much appreciated. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. You guys have a great, we'll see you around. Have
Yes,
a good one. Bye-bye.
you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. You're all wonderful, and it's been wonderful being on a committee together.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you, guys.
fantastic. This is awesome. Good job, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.